Halifax County School Board to order. Yes, we do. And we'd like to welcome all of you to our meeting this evening. I would ask each board member to please check your microphones. Make sure that when you are speaking, you're speaking into the microphone so that everyone can hear you. We will hear each opinion, but ultimately act as one. We will speak candidly and courteously to each other and listen to the dissenting or different viewpoints with an open mind. We will help each other to depersonalize disagreements. Once we reach a decision or compromise as a board, we will each support the will of the board in word and in deed. I ask that we now observe a moment of silence. And if we'd please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Lloyd has notified the board that he is unable to attend tonight's meeting due to medical condition, and that he will be participating electronically through his or her phone. This will be entered into the minutes of the meeting. And according to School Board Policy BDD, electronic participation in meetings from remote locations, a school board member may participate in a meeting by electronic means when a quorum of the school board is physically assembled at the meeting location, and arrangements have been made for the voice of the remote participant to be heard by all persons at the meeting location. These requirements have been met. The board must approve the electronic participation by a majority vote of the members who are physically assembled. So I need a motion for Mr. Lloyd to participate electronically.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion that we
Thank you. Do I have a second? Thank you. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And all those opposed? Item B is the approval of the agenda, and we received this both electronically and by the mail. I would ask now for a motion to approve the agenda. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Camp. Thank you, Mr. Potts. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. And all those opposed? Approval of the agenda. Next is the consent agenda, and I ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda, and I would need a second. I need a second. Is there any discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye. Aye. And all those opposed say no. The agenda is approved. The next item of business is the citizens' comments. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come up and speak this evening to the board? If so, you need to give your name, and you will have 3 minutes to address the board. Okay. Next item is the superintendent's report and information items. Dr. Lindberg.
Madam Chair, members of the board and audience, just a few comments tonight. First off, just want to mention our high school and that we've had tough last month and tough tragedies that have gone through the high school, and just appreciate the high school folks and the staff over there standing tall during this very difficult time. High school is the centerpiece of the community and such great faculty, and we appreciate all they do. Last week was Teacher Appreciation Week, and it's been nice since the last few months getting kids back in the buildings and watching our teachers teach. And last week, Kathy and I went to Cluster Springs Elementary School and spent an hour or two, and I've been in most all buildings the last week or two, and you know, we're getting back to normal, and when you walk in the classrooms, you see teaching that's going on and good high quality instruction. We really, really appreciate that. We have such a great faculty and staff, and they do great things. So Teacher Appreciation Week was, you know, always appreciate our folks in the field. One of the things that we took on back in February and we was approved in March is our school board goals. We have 6 goals as a division. I want to remind our board of those 6 goals along with our community. The first goal is to develop career and/or college-ready citizens. Goal 2 is to continue to emphasize student learning and maintain full accreditation for all schools. Number 3 is modernize the high school and elementary school facilities. 4 is to improve compensation for all employees in the school division. 5 is to provide equitable education opportunities for all students based on policy and data. And 6 is to strengthen and facilitate engagement between schools and families. In June, we will have action plans to go with each one of our goals. So we are proceeding, and all of you I know are working on this and are really excited about reaching each one of these goals. Thank you.
Thank you. I just have a couple of remarks to make. I would like, first of all, to commend Catherine Allen on her first successful year as our student representative on the board. This has been invaluable to have a student report how the students feel about the year that will go down in history. I wish her well in her future endeavors. We as a school system have been successful in a very tough year, even with the losses that we have suffered. We have some difficult decisions to make for our future years. We have to decide what is best for our county and for our schools in upgrades and employee salaries. As long as we keep focused on a team approach, we can decide what is best for all that is concerned. May not what we want personally, but it will be what we want for the county. Ms. Allen?
Good evening, everyone, and thank you, Ms. Fraley. You're making me tear up a little bit over here. First, I just want to thank Mr. Lewis and the Halifax County High School administration for everything they're doing for seniors. Last week on Friday, each of us received yard signs. So if you drive by Three Forks, you'll see mine. And they've just been wonderful in trying to provide us with the opportunities that we would have missed out on otherwise. And then I want to thank every teacher out there for doing the hardest job possible, especially with this past year and everything they've been put through. Not once have I seen a teacher waver in their love and their passion for education. And then I want to encourage every student in Halifax County to continue to work as hard as they can. I know senioritis is hitting, even if you're not in your senior year. Trust me, I know. So just keep working. We only have 41 days till graduation, so thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Allen. Next item on the agenda are the recognitions. The first one listed is entitled Superintendents of the Year for 2020-2021. And we do have a recognition for our superintendent, and I'm going to read it. Just bear with me. In recognition of 133 Virginia Public School Division Superintendents as Superintendents of the Year for 2020-21. Whereas in order to ensure the health and safety of all Virginians, schools across the Commonwealth closed March 13, 2020, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, and most have provided virtual instruction since then as an in-person teaching and learning involved. Whereas individual school divisions retain the autonomy to decide whether or not new instruction would continue and for the format in which the instruction would be presented. Whereas stable and consistent leadership by local school division superintendents has been vital in serving children through this pandemic. And whereas school division superintendents are responsible for the health, safety, welfare, and education of each child while creating school culture, even when a pandemic that serves all children regardless of their circumstances. Whereas public school division superintendents utilize guidance from the Centers of Disease Control, the Virginia Department of Health, the Virginia Department of Education, local health departments, and local case data in fulfilling leadership responsibilities in their communities like no other time in their careers. Whereas local division superintendents work collaboratively with their school boards, educators, parents, and community stakeholders in providing technology, resource, curriculum content, emotional support, and meals to children during the pandemic. Whereas traditionally VASS Superintendents of the Year have been selected via a diverse panel of education associations after reviewing an individual superintendent's ability to demonstrate leadership for learning, communication, professionalism, and community involvement. Whereas all 133 Virginia Public School Division superintendents have extraordinarily exhibited these qualities while leading their school divisions and communities. Whereas VASS Board of Directors agreed on January 7th, 2021, to suspend the traditional selection process of determining a single Superintendent of the Year unanimously, agreed to recognize and honor all Virginia School Division superintendents as Superintendents of the Year. Whereas VASS is appreciative of the Virginia School Board Association supporting this resolution and the honor provided to each division superintendent by having his or her respective school board present this resolution to the superintendent to be recognized within the community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Halifax County School Board does hereby recognize Mark Y. Lindberg as Virginia Superintendent of the Year 2020-21 as designated by the Virginia Association of School Superintendents. Say that one more time. Thank you. Is the resolution approved by the board? All those in favor say yes. Make, I make a, I need a motion. Okay, all those in favor say yes? Yes. All those opposed? Motion approved. Dr. Lindbergh, can you meet me over there? Just bear with us just for 1 minute, please. Don't do that. Ms. Scott, would you come up here, please? This year we struggled a lot, and we made it. There's one individual that we lost, and he was very valuable to this community. So tonight, we have a resolution for First Sergeant.
Whereas First Sergeant Gregory Tyrone Scott was a native of South Boston, Virginia. And whereas First Sergeant Gregory Tyrone Scott served as a JROTC teacher at Halifax County High School from 2016 until his death on April the 13th, 2021. Whereas First Sergeant Gregory Scott served in the United States Army for 28 years, 11 months, and 4 days. And whereas First Sergeant Gregory Tyrone Scott was a fully licensed teacher and was pursuing an advanced degree in educational leadership. And whereas First Sergeant Gregory Tyrone Scott was instrumental in the Feed More program in the community. And whereas First Sergeant Gregory Scott provided JROTC color guard for school and community activities, including athletic events, and assisted with Raiders competitions, cadet drill team activities, JROTC ceremonies, and military ball and Veterans Day ceremonies. And whereas First Sergeant Gregory Tyrone Scott was a highly distinguished and exemplary educator and a mentor who went above and beyond to help students succeed in life. Now therefore be it resolved, the Halifax County School Board expresses its admiration for his leadership and many contributions to the public schools of our community. Be it further resolved that a copy of this resolution be shared with the Scott family, and furthermore that this resolution be included in the minutes of the school board meeting of this day, May 10th, 2021, adopted this day, 10th of May, 2021.
We need a motion from the board for this resolution to be passed. Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion carried.
Madam Chair, members of the board and audience, Ms. Fraley mentioned earlier and now we want to formally recognize our student school board representative, Catherine Allen, in recognition of valuable leadership and service as the first student representative to the Halifax County School Board. This was an initiative that was like a lot of things that go on as a school board. This was a baby of Ms. Coleman, who saw the need to have a student voice on her board. She helped get the board to pass this, and it's been a great thing, and I think the future is going to be even better when we have students in school and have that direct interaction between our students and administration. But Catherine, you brought a valuable voice to our board, and you set a great precedent for us. So if you would come up front, and we would like to award you with a nice plaque and certificate. Thank you, Catherine.
Our next item is FCC LA competition winners. Ms. Worley.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and the board. Sorry I had a little hard time. First sergeant was a very dear friend of mine, so. I came here today to celebrate some students who really went above and beyond during this pandemic, continuing FCCLA, which stands for Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America. The three girls that I have here today truly are community leaders, and I'm very proud of all three of them. Specifically, these girls have been a part of different things that we've done out in the community. Sky was with me during a coat drive, during one of the Feed More events. Kate and Kayla have been with me during Feed More events where we cooked for the community. We've gone to Durham, to the, to the Ronald McDonald House, and fed people there for Caroline Longhorn. So backing up to the year 2020, these students really didn't get any recognition for all their hard work because of everything that happened. In fact, the day before schools were shut down, these girls were working on their food innovation projects. Both teams won first place in the state of Virginia. The team, thank you. The team Sky was on last year was one of the first place winners. The three girls won in combination $24,000 in scholarships to the Culinary Institute of Virginia. Kayla Hayes and Caitlin's team also won first place in the state, but because of their level, they don't get scholarships because it's a level 2. And then we also had Bobby Wade, who won second place as she demonstrated our chapter service display project for Cooking for Caroline two huge awards that we won last year that I don't believe Halifax County has ever won. There was a long gap of there not being an FCCLA chapter. The FCCLA Community Service Award, sorry, I haven't had it framed. But anyway, we won that. The program guides students to develop, plan, carry out, and evaluate projects that improve the quality of life in their communities. Community service helps young people build skills for family, career, and community roles, provides youth-centered learning experiences related to family and consumer science education, and encourages young people to develop positive character traits of trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and citizenship. Our FCCLA chapter, like I said, we've gone and done, worked in nursing homes in this area, gone outside of the area, and done, and have done cooking for people in need. They also helped me start the Caring Closet, which gives students in our high school that are in need of food, hygiene items, clothing, whatever they need to get through to school to not have to worry about those things. Also, a big award, which again is supposed to be on a plaque that I don't have yet. We won the Outstanding FCCLA Chapter Silver. We did not win the gold because of our size. So it was a huge accomplishment as we worked through these things during coronavirus. These students came in, worked on their projects. They worked on membership recruitment, chapter activities, state and national activities, chapter publicity, and exceptional accomplishments. These girls, specifically Kayla and Caitlin and Sky, are also chapter officials. They have been in the newspaper, they have been on the news, promoting great things in our community. This year, moving forward, I would like to present Sky Newcomb with an $8,000 scholarship to the Culinary Institute of Virginia, where Sky is planning to go and continuing in baking and pastry. Sky is also the reason that we have started a new class at the high school starting next year called Culinary Arts Specialization, where she will work on baking and pastry, and she will have had two what? So like, not 2 terms, 4 terms. To whatever they're called. Sky will have in total 6 years of high school culinary experience with her credits. Yeah. Oh, and she also won a fancy medal. Sky won, like I said, first place, and she won first place this year in nutrition and wellness. So congratulations, Sky. You got that one? Yeah, I think you stay there. Yeah, I think that's the situation. Oh yeah, so there's Sky, look at that. And all 3 girls, okay, so are moving on to national competition since they placed first. Next, first place person is, or no, we can go back to Caitlin. So Caitlin won 3rd place, but is able to advance to nationals because 2nd place was disqualified. We're excited to have Caitlin participate in the first ever FCCLA competition that did not have to do with culinary arts. She did early childhood education, so I really commend her for stepping out and doing something that I couldn't necessarily help her with too much. She did have the help of Melanie Saunders, her Teacher for Tomorrow teacher. And next, our big winner this year, Kayla Hayes, won in combination $20,000 in scholarships.
Wonderful. That's all right.
She placed first in one of my favorite competitions that I'm sure most people wouldn't even look at, Advanced Culinary Math Management. So she won $8,000 to the Culinary Institute of Virginia. She also won $12,000 to Sullivan University, where she plans on using her scholarship to work towards her education in nursing and then transfer those credits to VCU. So that's amazing.
If I don't mind, can I just say something real quick?
Go on and say it.
So when I first came into culinary arts, I would have never thought I would have gotten this far. And I just want to take the time out to thank my teacher, because Chef has been there a lot of times for me. And with this competition, I get to pay for most of my college, which I would have never thought I would have went through. And so I just want to thank you for this, because you set the future for me, and I really appreciate you being my teacher.
Fantastic.
Also, Sky said the softball team won, so. No comments. Thank you.
Madam Chair, I would like to say something, please.
Yes, ma'am.
I love children that, in the midst of the pandemic, these children has excelled, and that's what teaching is all about. And even though I was not their teacher, I've been in the position before, so I'm teary too. And especially that is the one thing in the teacher profession that encourages you to get up every morning, whether you want to come or not, because you know you're going to impact the life of a student. And this is just the results of that happening. Kudos. All right.
Next item is the theater students. Dr. Lindberg?
Do we have any of our theater students here tonight, or Mr. Donner? Okay. Our theater team and Coach Donner had a great one-act play season. They were second in the sub-region that included Halifax, Blacksburg, and Pulaski, and they were second in the region that included Halifax, Pulaski, East Glass, and Jefferson Forest. In this COVID year, only one school advanced, but they had a great season and were a regional competition finalist. So congratulations to our theater team, one-act play. Great job, Mr. Donner and team.
Yep. Next item is a reading specialist, Mrs. Long.
Good evening, Madam Chair Fraley, Co-Chair Mosier, board members, and Dr. Lindenberg. Tonight, I first want to recognize you, our Halifax County School Board members, for your vision to impact the future of Halifax County Public Schools by supporting and fully funding 8 teachers to receive their reading specialist endorsement. From their first course of study starting in the fall of 2019, and for many, many, many years to come, you, the school board, have truly touched the future of Halifax County. When you invest in the growth of our teachers, you invest in the students. In the summer of 2019, 8 educators made the commitment to enter the reading program at Longwood University and complete 8 classes. They knew this 2-year program would be demanding on a full-time teacher. Little did they know that their world would be turned upside down with a global pandemic. Although all of them had to quickly learn how to teach virtually and work through all the challenges that brought both professionally and personally, these 8 teachers never wavered from their commitment they made to this program and to Halifax County. Was it difficult at times? Absolutely. But they have survived. Their last class ended last week. So if you look toward the back, you see 8 ladies with big smiles on their faces. I am so very proud of these 8 dedicated educators for completing this program and for being willing to step up and help our kids with reading. Please join me in recognizing these hometown teacher heroes. When I call your name, please come forward. Lindsay Adams, Halifax County Middle School. Tabitha Cash, Cluster Springs Elementary. Felicia Easley, Halifax County High School. Wendy Hall, Halifax County Middle School. Vanessa Mason, South Boston Elementary. Lashina Medley, Halifax County Middle School. Tiffany Moorfield, South Boston Elementary. And Mashonda Richardson, Cluster Springs Elementary. Yes, the goal was to have 8 teachers complete the reading specialist endorsement at Longwood, and that goal has been accomplished. But let me continue to share with you just how dedicated these educators are. Standing before 7 of them were 4 more classes that they could take on their own, and they will have earned their master's degree in reading. What did they do? In the midst of a global pandemic, they continued, they survived, and on this Friday, they will be walking across the stage at Longwood University with their master's degree in reading. Please join me in congratulating these 7 because Wendy Hall already had her master's degree, but earning their degree, Lindsay Adams, Middle School, Tabitha Cash, Cluster Springs, Felicia Easley, High School, Vanessa Mason, South Boston, Lashina Medley, Middle School, Tiffany Moorfield, South Boston, Mashonda Richardson. That is the best that it gets. And you, the school board, invested in these ladies, which means you invested in every child in the reading program of Halifax County. It doesn't get any better when we work together. Let's give them all a round of applause. And thank you again, the school board, for your continued support. If you remember, 4 years ago, you invested in 6 of our teachers to earn their math specialists, and this is 8 more, so thank you again. And I think Mrs. Cash has something she would like to say.
Effective teaching requires lifelong learning. I had a dream of returning to college to earn my master's degree, just like the dedicated cohort of ladies that stand here with me. This board made that dream a reality for us. The experience of completing this program in a cohort was the most rewarding of all. We cried together, prayed for one another, welcomed several blessings, faced a few tragedies, offered support, and motivated each other to excel during the most challenging times of our teaching careers. I won't sugarcoat it. This was one of the most unprecedented experiences we have ever faced. Not many can say that they attended and successfully completed a master's degree program in the middle of a global pandemic. To say this was challenging would most definitely be an understatement. Not only were we in a rigorous graduate program, we had to rethink everything we knew about teaching as we were thrown into virtual learning this year. Many days we were looking at a computer screen for 14 to 16 hours. However, we did it. We successfully completed the program and earned our reading specialist endorsement. There are no words that I can say that will adequately thank you for this opportunity. However, the investment you have made in this group of educators will pay it forward for years to come for the students of Halifax County. I'd also like to thank Mrs. Long and Mrs. Rice for their support during this journey. They ensured we had the materials required in advance and offered continued support throughout this journey. On a personal note, I knew as a first grader at Clays Mill Elementary many, many years ago that I wanted to become a teacher. Wanda Crenshaw, my first grade teacher, inspired me, and I wanted to be just like her. I taught at least 1 million imaginary students in my bedroom as a young girl. Halifax is the county that made me. I began my career as a paraprofessional at South Adan Elementary in 2000 at the age of 19. I worked during the day and attended classes at night before transferring to Averett University. I often say that I learned more about the art of teaching from my mentors at South Adan than I could have learned in any college classroom. I learned from the best here in Halifax County. I returned to Halifax County to student teach at South Adan and C.H. Friend. I became a first-generation college graduate in 2004 and accepted my first teaching position in first grade at South Adan Elementary. I have called that my home for the last 21 years. I am a proud product of Halifax County. You can never go wrong investing in your students and your staff. Reading specialists will be needed now more than ever as we recover from the loss of instructional time due to COVID. You provided the opportunity to equip us ladies with the knowledge of how to close the gaps in literacy. Again, effective teaching requires lifelong learning, and you made that possible for us. We thank you, and we know that our future students will thank you as well. Thank you, ladies.
The last item under recognition is our football team. And I would like for the coach and the young men who are here from our football team to come up to where the podium is, please. Coach, I'm just going to say a couple things and then I'll turn it over to you to talk about your team, okay? Guys, we all know that you had a very difficult time this year because of the pandemic and because you were not able to practice and do the things that you would normally do as a team together. But there's one thing that I saw when I came to watch you play. You're a young team, and you work together. So I know that you will continue to do that as we open up the schools for next year and you get practice time and the schedule opens up and you'll be playing more and more folks. I thank you for everything that you've done this year. You should be proud of yourselves and your accomplishments in working out, doing what the coaches ask you to do. And I just wanted you to come and be recognized because you are some outstanding young men in our high school. Coach?
I wasn't ready to speak, but no, I really appreciate it. I really appreciate the opportunity more so to work with these young men. They were brave enough to come out and do a lot of things that a lot of people were nervous about doing. And they did everything we asked in a very difficult situation between COVID, ice storms, shortage of numbers, trying to put this together on a short amount of time, but they kept pushing. They never complained, and they always wanted more coaching. So that says a lot about their character, says a lot about where they're from, and it says a lot about our community because these young men reflect our community and what we have best to offer in our community. So I'm very appreciative to have the opportunity to coach them, and I look forward to next year.
Very good job.
Our next item are the reports. First item is the health update. Mrs. Slayball.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lindenberg. I would like to continue the good news that has been happening tonight. The percent positivity did tick up a little bit in the district, 6.6, but I talked to the epidemiologist this morning. She was not concerned about that. Our core indicators have come down. The number of new cases per 100,000 in the last 7 days is 35.17. It was 111.4 at the last meeting, and the 7-day average of the percent positivity was 5.2, and at the last meeting it was 6.8. We have had one employee case since the last school board meeting, and currently we do not have any employees out on isolation or quarantine. We have had 8 student cases with very little contacts being recognized with them, and several of those cases were siblings who had tested positive. And currently we have 11 students out on quarantine or isolation, and we still have not identified any in-school spread of COVID since we've been back in person. Any questions? Yes, sir.
I tried to give you a break, but I can't. I'm sorry. Why break a good record? My question deals with how many people have gone unvaccinated within the teaching people? How many, because last time we had X amount, how many do we have this event?
So we have about around 65% of our employees vaccinated. I don't have the exact number on teachers, but I could get that to you. We have about, I looked at it this morning, 580 out of 935 employees vaccinated.
Okay. And we are still making efforts to get them vaccinated, correct?
Yes.
Mr. Superintendent, I will bring something up in the executive session about this, because we need to do something about that other 35%. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Ledbetter.
No problem. If it's not any other questions about that, I spoke to Dr. Lindenberg and he gave me a little leeway to do this. I just want to recognize that Wednesday, the 12th, is School Nurse Appreciation Day, and this group of ladies have been doing an awesome job this last year, taking care of the students, educating the parents, taking care of the employees. A couple of them are not pictured, and we've brought on a few sub-nurses this year who I think have taken on a huge challenge, taking on learning a new job during a pandemic. But our full-time nurses have trained to be contact tracers, vaccinators. They have helped with food distribution. They have trained every single employee in our district in some way or another, COVID-related. They've become subject matter experts. They've consulted on everything that they can consult on in their building. They've served on the social emotional learning teams in their building, and they've developed new ways of seeing students in the classrooms and reaching them at home if they have to. So I just would like, if you see a school nurse on Wednesday, please thank them for the job that they have done over the last year. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Could you send us an email with those names of those people, their
Yeah.
email addresses?
Yes, ma'am, I can do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is graduation. Mr. Lewis?
Madam Chair and members of the board, Mr. Lewis is unable to attend tonight, but we do have Mr. Russell on Zoom. If we can make sure he's there, and he will share graduation details.
Hi, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful, wonderful. Yes, just a brief update. Mr. Lewis apologized. He wasn't able to be here. He had another obligation this evening. But he sent me instead. I just wanted to share a little bit about graduation. We recently informed our students and their families last week that we would get children to do graduation this year. It's going to be a drive-through graduation as it was last year. This decision was made after careful consideration for the safety of all of our stakeholders, and most importantly, trying to factor in the mandatory requirements provided for us to have under Virginia's Executive Order number 72. So again, this year on June 19th, we're going to have graduation as it was last year. It's going to be in the drive-through format. As I said, we sort of tried to vet out all of the options as best we could. We did the pros and cons on a lot of different options. As best we saw it, this was the easiest, the most straightforward, and I would probably say it keeps us out of the weeds as far as all of the different variables that come up in Executive Order number 72 that we really have a hard time trying to surmount and provide them this year. So again, we're going to do the drive-through graduation. We're anticipating about 351 graduates. The drive-through and my logic on it basically through all of the vetting of the different options was basically for students, which ones would they have the opportunity to have the most people see them, i.e. parents. Out of all of the options that we had, the drive-through was the option that allowed more than 2 parents or more than 2 participants. Generally, under normal circumstances, COVID not being here, we can do it in the gym. We give out copious amounts of tickets because we're able to house those people. But this year and last year, based on COVID, we weren't. So again, that's how I looked at it. That's just my personal take on that. But again, I think that's sort of factored into everybody's decision in making it. Just wanted to share that. If anybody has any questions, please shoot them out.
Do we have any questions for Mr. Russell? Thank you, Mr. Russell.
Yes, ma'am.
Next item is unfinished business, the revised 2021-22 budget. Dr. Lindberg and Mr. Ayler.
I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Ayler for a quick overview.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Dr. Lindenberg, the budget that we originally submitted to the county for approval included local funding of $14,373,000. The county only approved local funding in the amount of $14,243,000. So this is just adjusting the local share in our budget for FY 22. I ask that the board approve the amended budget.
Okay. Need a motion for the approval.
Madam Chair, I motion that we approve the revised budget.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman, and I need a second. All those approve say yes.
Excuse me, Madam Chair, that's not correct. We have to open.
Discussion. I'm
Yes,
sorry. Thank you, Mr. Potts. Is there any discussion?
I have one question, Ms. Ayers. Well, I might have more than one, but, so this is the final thing that we're gonna look at, what you just, 14,373, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And this is the one that we're going to present to the Board of Supervisors, or already have?
This is what they've actually approved in the county budget. And this is their local share approved for the school board for FY 22.
Okay. Is this including the state money?
The total budget includes the state money. This is, the state money did not change. This is just the local share that changed.
Thank you.
Is there any more discussion? Okay. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
And all those opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Okay. Under new business, late June special school board meeting, June 28th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. Halifax County Cafeteria. Dr. Lindberg.
Madam Chair, members of the board, before you have we're asking you to have a special board meeting on June the 28th at 6:30 in the at this location to approve. Just, it should be a very, very brief meeting, and the only thing we'll have on there is just bill approval, and that'll be it. So it's typically, we have it every year at that meeting, and we will limit the agenda to only that.
Okay,
Asking for approval.
okay. Do I have a motion to approve the school board meeting in June 28th?
I'll make a motion that we approve the school board meeting June 28th at
Thank you.
Halifax County
Thank
High
you,
School.
Mr. Moser. Do I have a second? Thank you. Is there any discussion? Okay. Ask for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. All right. Now I ask for the legal motion to go into closed session. Ms. Coleman, would you read that for us? Do you have a copy of it, or do you need me to get you one?
I do.
Thank you, Ms. Coleman.
Pursuant to section 2.2-3711 of the Code of Virginia, I move that the board convene a closed session meeting for the purpose of considering the following specific matters: personnel, the appointment, resignation, salaries, and performance of specific division employees as authorized by section 2.2-3711.1 of the Code of Virginia, and also for protection of the privacy of individuals on personal matters not related to public business as authorized by section 2.2-3711.4 of the Code of Virginia.
Do I have a second? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? We're in the closed session. Thank you, Mr. Potts.